You guys, two things that you're going to need to do to your salt and pepper shakers to make them a salt and pepper shaker. So you guys remember yesterday where I showed you guys how to push this area in, and I used a slightly different tool, but just pushing it in so that you have a relief area so that your cork doesn't stick out of the bottom of your salt and pepper shaker. It gives you a place, that way you can stick your fingers in there, pull the cork out, put salt in there, put the cork back in, and you'll be all set. So you need to make a hole. Now there's two ways you can make a hole. I have two tools. I have this one and I have this one. This one's not quite big enough, and with this one in particular you have to go all the way up to where my fingers are. Not the outside edge here, but you have to go to right here, the second tier, the second step. Okay? So when you do this, I'm going to move this piece because it's bugging me. You want to do it, I think, in the center, and you want to start to twist, and you can't push this in unless you're turning it. It absolutely has to be turning if you're pushing it in. I'm not trying to go super fast. And then I'm going to pull the tool out and I'm going to relieve the material, take it off, so that I'm not leaving a lot of material inside there. In the beginning, it's very easy. You can see I'm getting almost all the way there. If you do end up with the tiniest bit of material inside, it will get fired in there, and then if it's loose, it'll just shake out. So it's not the end of the world if you have something in there. But you do want to try to not have a lot. When you get towards the end, and you're trying to get it all the way through, it gets a little more difficult. And it depends on the thickness of your clay. My clay looks a little thick. I think I've made it all the way through. So again, on this tool, I'm not coming up to this edge, but the second tier. And that's the size corks that I have. So if you wanted to get a different cork, that's totally fine. But that's the size that I have. Now, when you're done with this, you do not want to leave all this extra material here. You want to remove that and smooth it, because that'll be sharp later. So you want to make sure that it's kind of clean on the outside. This would be an excellent opportunity for you to put your name on it right here, even if it's small. The salt and pepper shakers are fairly individual, so you most likely will know, but it's good for me in case you end up getting it fired late and then I have to bring it to you in class later on next semester. And then if you guys look inside here, you can see there's a little bit of an area, I'm trying to go in real close so you can see it, where there's some extra clay that kind of got pushed through on the other side. So again, you want to try to get rid of that. And I'm just going around and carefully carving that off so that I just have this hole, just the way I want it. You want to be careful that you don't poke through your entire piece. And you want to get it all the way around, nice and clean. Okay? So I would work on that just a little bit more and finish it up to make it look really nice. But that looks nice and round, so I think that'll be good. You don't want it, if it looks oval, fix it, because it just will leak salt and pepper if it doesn't fit nicely. Okay? I can show you guys the corks. The corks are going to be a little big at this stage. They're supposed to be big because, remember, this whole thing's going to shrink. What I had done originally when I got the corks is I tested the size of the hole, and then I fired them, and then I glaze fired them because it gets even smaller then, and they should fit if you do it all the way to that point. The next thing you want to do, again, when it's leather hard, is you want to drill the holes for your salt and pepper. You want to go with the largest drill bit you can have. You can see these are in back. There's a bin, a blue bin that says drill bits. And you see this size is larger than this size. This is what you want. And when it's leather hard, you're going to, again, just twist. It's easier if you hold it like that. And it's going to make a much cleaner hole. You see how it's kind of coming out of the drill bit? So it doesn't, there's not as much clay that goes into the piece. So it looks, again, like a very big hole for salt and pepper. And if it stayed like this, it would be. But later on, when it's shrunk, you'll get the perfect hole. The other thing you're going to have to be really careful about, and I'll mention this again when we get to this stage, is when you're glazing over these holes easily get covered up. So you're going to bring your glaze right up to the edge and stop. Even if I'm glazing in between right through here, you want to be careful. If you just dump glaze over this and just brush around it, it will cover up your hole and then it won't work. Okay, so you got to be very sensitive to that. And then I'm going to do one right here. I'll just show you another time so that you can see how this works. So again, I'm twisting this in. You can see the material coming up and out. It's the design of the drill bit. That's what a drill bit does, so that the material doesn't get caught inside. If there's any caught inside and we shake it later on, it'll come out, but we want to try to keep as little in there as possible. Okay? Is everybody good with this? Any questions? Awesome.